Long before the invention of telescopes or modern technology, ancient civilizations looked up at the night sky and saw more than just stars. They saw stories, patterns, and even predictions for their future. Without the tools we take for granted today, they managed to map the heavens with a level of precision that still leaves us in awe. But it wasn't just the stars they observed. From the cycles of the moon to the floods of mighty rivers, early societies meticulously recorded the wonders of nature, creating a bridge between the mysteries of the universe and their daily lives. How did they do it? What drove them to document these natural phenomena? And what can their ancient records teach us about our connection to the world around us? In this video, we'll explore the tools they used, the methods they developed, and the incredible legacy they left behind, a testament to humanity's enduring curiosity and ingenuity. Join us as we uncover the secrets of how early civilizations captured the wonders of nature and why their observations still resonate with us today. For early humans, survival wasn't just about strength or luck. It was about understanding the rhythms of the world around them. Picture a group of hunter-gatherers standing beneath a vast, open sky, watching the stars shift with the seasons. They noticed how the rising and setting of certain stars coincided with the arrival of rains or the migration of herds. These patterns weren't just curiosities, they were lifelines. By observing the natural world, early humans could predict when to plant seeds, when to hunt, and even when to move to safer grounds. The cycles of the moon, the movement of the sun, and the behavior of animals all became part of a living calendar, one that dictated the rhythm of their lives. But how did they pass this crucial knowledge down through generations? Long before written language, they relied on oral traditions, stories, songs, and rituals that carried the wisdom of the natural world. Imagine sitting around a fire, listening to elders recount tales of the great flood that came when Orion's belt appeared in the night sky, or the migration of birds that signaled the first frost. These stories weren't just entertainment. They were survival guides, carefully crafted to ensure that the next generation could read the signs of nature as clearly as their ancestors had. Over time, these observations began to take on a more structured form. Early humans started to carve notches into bones, paint symbols on cave walls, and arrange stones in patterns that mirrored the stars above. These were the first steps toward systematic record-keeping, a way to preserve their hard-won knowledge for future generations. What began as instinctual observation slowly evolved into a deliberate effort to document and understand the natural world, a journey that would eventually lead to the creation of calendars, maps, and even early scientific inquiry. This shift from oral tradition to tangible records marks a pivotal moment in human history, one that laid the foundation for the civilizations that would follow. As the first civilizations began to take shape, so too did their fascination with the heavens. The Babylonians, Egyptians, and Mayans weren't just stargazers, they were pioneers of astronomy, using the sky as a guide to navigate life on Earth. For these cultures, the stars were more than distant lights, they were the architects of time itself. By meticulously tracking the movements of celestial bodies, they developed some of the earliest known calendars, tools that allowed them to organize their societies, plan agricultural cycles, and even predict events like eclipses. Imagine the awe they must have felt watching the moon slowly obscure the sun, knowing they had calculated its arrival with astonishing accuracy. The Babylonians, for instance, were among the first to record detailed observations of the night sky. Their clay tablets, etched with cuneiform script, reveal a deep understanding of planetary movements and the lunar cycle. These records weren't just scientific, they were deeply intertwined with their religious beliefs. The Babylonians saw the stars as divine messages, and their priests acted as interpreters, decoding celestial patterns to guide their people. Similarly, the Egyptians aligned their pyramids and temples with remarkable precision, ensuring these monumental structures mirrored the heavens. The Great Pyramid of Giza, for example, is aligned almost perfectly with the cardinal directions, a feat that reflects their reverence for the sun god Ra and their belief in a cosmic order. The Mayans, meanwhile, took astronomy to another level. Their intricate calendar system, based on precise observations of the sun, moon, and Venus, allowed them to predict celestial events with incredible accuracy. They built observatories like the one at Chichén Itzá, where they could track the movements of Venus and align their religious ceremonies with its cycles. For the Mayans, the stars weren't just markers of time, they were living entities deeply connected to their myths and rituals. These ancient cultures didn't just study the stars, they wove them into the very fabric of their societies. The alignment of temples, the timing of festivals, and the creation of calendars all revolved around celestial events. This fusion of science and spirituality highlights a profound truth. For early civilizations, the heavens weren't just a source of wonder, they were a vital part of their identity, a way to make sense of the world and their place within it. As we delve deeper into their methods of recording these celestial wonders, we'll uncover how their observations laid the groundwork for the scientific advancements that would follow. The leap from oral traditions to written records marked a monumental shift in how early civilizations documented the wonders of nature. Imagine the moment when a Babylonian scribe pressed a stylus into wet clay, etching symbols that would outlast generations. This was the birth of Cuneiform, one of the earliest known writing systems. Similarly, in ancient Egypt, hieroglyphs began to emerge, carved into stone and painted on papyrus, capturing the essence of their world in intricate symbols. These weren't just marks on a surface, they were the first steps toward preserving knowledge in a way that could be shared, studied, and built upon. The Babylonians, masters of observation, used cuneiform to create detailed astronomical diaries. These clay tablets recorded the positions of planets, the phases of the moon, and even rare celestial events like eclipses. One remarkable example is the Venus tablet of Amasajuka, which tracks the movements of Venus over a 21-year period. For the Babylonians, this wasn't just data, it was a way to predict the future, linking celestial patterns to earthly events like harvests and floods. Their meticulous records laid the groundwork for later astronomical studies, proving that even thousands of years ago, humans were driven by a desire to understand the cosmos. Meanwhile, along the banks of the Nile, the Egyptians were using hieroglyphs to document the annual flooding of the river, an event so vital to their survival that it shaped their entire calendar. They recorded the height of the floodwaters, the timing of the inundation, and even the effects on their crops. These records weren't just practical, they were deeply spiritual. The Egyptians believed the Nile's floods were a gift from the gods, and by documenting them, they were preserving a divine connection. Temples often served as repositories for these records, blending the sacred with the scientific in a way that reflected their worldview. What's truly remarkable about these early written records is how they transformed knowledge from something fleeting into something enduring. Oral traditions, while powerful, were vulnerable to distortion or loss over time. But writing allowed civilizations to store and transmit information with unprecedented accuracy. It gave them the ability to compare observations across generations, to spot patterns, and to refine their understanding of the natural world. This shift didn't just preserve knowledge, it accelerated the pace of discovery, setting the stage for the scientific advancements that would follow. These ancient scribes didn't just record what they saw, they interpreted it. Babylonian astronomical diaries often included omens, linking celestial events to earthly outcomes. Egyptian flood records were accompanied by prayers and rituals, reflecting their belief in a world where the natural and the supernatural were intertwined. This blending of observation and interpretation reminds us that for early civilizations, understanding nature wasn't just about facts, it was about meaning. They sought not only to document the world, but to make sense of their place within it. As we look back at these first written records, we see more than just the origins of science. We see the origins of storytelling, of curiosity, and of humanity's endless quest to understand the universe. Cuneiform and hieroglyphs weren't just tools for recording. They were bridges between the past and the future, connecting generations of thinkers, dreamers, and seekers. And in their symbols, we find echoes of our own desire to explore, to learn, and to leave a legacy that endures. Among the most awe-inspiring remnants of ancient civilizations are the monumental stone circles and megaliths that still stand today. These towering structures, like Stonehenge in England and Newgrange in Ireland, are more than just relics of the past. They are windows into how early societies understood and celebrated the natural world. Built with astonishing precision, these sites served dual purposes. They were sacred spaces for rituals and gatherings, but they also functioned as sophisticated astronomical observatories designed to track the movements of the sun, moon, and stars. Take Stonehenge, for example. This iconic circle of massive stones, erected over 4,000 years ago, is aligned with the summer and winter solstices. During the summer solstice, the rising sun shines directly through the monument's central axis, casting a beam of light that illuminates the inner circle. For the people who built it, this alignment wasn't just a feat of engineering. It was a way to mark the turning of the seasons, a moment when the heavens and the earth seemed to connect in a profound and mystical way. The winter solstice, on the other hand, was a time of renewal when the sun's return promised longer days and the rebirth of life. These celestial events were woven into the fabric of their culture, guiding everything from agricultural cycles to spiritual practices. Newgrange, a passage tomb in Ireland, offers another fascinating example. Built even earlier than Stonehenge, around 3,200 years before the Common Era, this ancient structure is aligned with the winter solstice sunrise. On the shortest day of the year, as the sun rises, a narrow beam of light penetrates the tomb's entrance and travels down a long passageway, eventually flooding the inner chamber with golden light. This phenomenon, which lasts only a few minutes, was clearly intentional, a testament to the builders' deep understanding of astronomy and their desire to create a space where the living could connect with the cycles of nature and perhaps with the ancestors who came before them. What's truly remarkable about these structures is the level of skill and knowledge required to construct them. Without the tools or technology we have today, ancient builders managed to align these monuments with celestial events with remarkable accuracy. They observed the heavens, charted the paths of celestial bodies, and used that knowledge to create structures that not only marked time, but also symbolized their connection to the cosmos. These sites were more than just practical tools. They were expressions of a worldview that saw the natural and the spiritual as deeply intertwined. The purpose of these monuments extended beyond mere observation. They were gathering places where communities came together to celebrate the turning of the seasons, honor their ancestors, and reaffirm their place in the universe. The alignment with solstices and equinoxes wasn't just about tracking time. It was about creating moments of collective awe and reverence. These events reminded people of the cycles that governed their lives, from the growth of crops to the passing of generations. In this way, stone circles and megaliths were both practical and poetic, serving as links between the earthly and the divine. As we stand before these ancient structures today, we're reminded of the ingenuity and vision of the people who built them. They looked to the sky not just for answers, but for meaning. Their ability to translate celestial patterns into stone and earth speaks to a profound connection with the natural world, one that continues to inspire us thousands of years later. These monuments are more than just historical artifacts. They are enduring symbols of humanity's quest to understand the mysteries of the universe and our place within it. The Mayan Codices stand as some of the most extraordinary surviving documents from the ancient world, offering a rare glimpse into the minds of one of history's most advanced civilizations. These manuscripts, painstakingly created by Mayan scribes, are more than just pages of intricate glyphs. They are windows into a sophisticated system of knowledge that link the heavens, the earth, and the rhythms of daily life. Only 4 of these codices have survived the passage of time, each one a treasure trove of astronomical observations, ritual calendars, and detailed records of natural phenomena. At the heart of these codices is the Mayan glyph system, a complex and elegant form of writing that combined symbols for sounds, words, and ideas. Unlike the linear script we use today, Mayan glyphs were often arranged in blocks, forming intricate patterns that conveyed layers of meaning. This system allowed the Mayans to encode vast amounts of information, from the precise timing of eclipses to the movements of Venus across the sky. They tracked celestial events with such accuracy that their predictions of planetary alignments and solar eclipses still astonish modern astronomers. One of the most famous codices, the Dresden Codex, includes detailed tables for predicting lunar eclipses and the cycles of Venus. For the Mayans, these celestial events weren't just scientific curiosities, they were deeply tied to their cosmology and daily life. The appearance of Venus, known as the morning star or evening star, was seen as a harbinger of change, influencing everything from warfare to agriculture. By meticulously recording these patterns, the Mayans could plan their activities in harmony with the cosmos, ensuring their survival and prosperity. But the codices didn't just focus on the stars. They also documented the natural world in extraordinary detail, from the migration patterns of animals to the cycles of the seasons. These records were essential for managing agricultural practices, helping the Mayans determine the best times to plant and harvest crops. The codices even included information on medicinal plants and healing rituals, blending practical knowledge with spiritual beliefs. This holistic approach to understanding nature reflects a worldview where science and spirituality were deeply intertwined, each informing the other. The influence of these records extended far beyond the realm of astronomy and agriculture. They shaped every aspect of Mayan society, from the timing of religious ceremonies to the governance of city-states. Kings and priests relied on the codices to guide their decisions, interpreting celestial omens as signs from the gods. The alignment of temples, the scheduling of festivals, and even the declaration of wars were all influenced by the knowledge contained within these precious manuscripts. What makes the Mayan codices even more remarkable is the sheer effort required to create them. Each page was made from the inner bark of fig trees, treated and folded into a screen-like format. Scribes used natural dyes and fine brushes to inscribe the glyphs, a process that demanded not only artistic skill, but also a deep understanding of the subject matter. These manuscripts were works of art as much as they were scientific documents, reflecting the Mayans' reverence for the knowledge they contained. Today, the Mayan codices remind us of the power of curiosity and the human drive to understand the world. They show us a civilization that saw the universe not as a chaotic jumble of events, but as a finely tuned system governed by patterns and cycles. Through their meticulous observations and innovative record-keeping, the Mayans left behind a legacy that continues to inspire and inform us, bridging the gap between the ancient and the modern. As we turn the pages of these fragile manuscripts, we're reminded that the quest to understand the wonders of nature is a timeless journey, one that connects us all. The ancient Chinese were masterful observers of the night sky, and their star maps stand as some of the most precise and detailed records of celestial phenomena from the ancient world. Unlike the grand stone monuments of other civilizations, the Chinese approach was more subtle but no less profound. They meticulously charted the heavens, creating maps that not only catalogued stars and constellations, but also reflected their deep belief in the harmony between heaven and earth. For them, the sky was a mirror of the natural and social order, a cosmic blueprint that guided everything from agriculture to the governance of empires. One of the most striking examples of this precision is the Dunhuang Star Atlas, a document dating back to the Tang dynasty around the 7th to 9th centuries. This remarkable artifact is the oldest known complete star atlas in the world, detailing over 1,300 stars grouped into 257 constellations. What makes it truly extraordinary is its accuracy. The positions of the stars align almost perfectly with modern astronomical charts. This level of detail wasn't achieved by chance. It was the result of centuries of careful observation and record-keeping, a tradition that began as early as the Han Dynasty. For the Chinese, star maps weren't just scientific tools. They were vital instruments for understanding the world. Astrology played a central role in their culture, with celestial events often seen as omens that influenced the fate of emperors and the prosperity of the empire. The appearance of a comet, for instance, might signal impending disaster, while the alignment of planets could herald a time of great change. Court astronomers were tasked with interpreting these signs, using their knowledge of the stars to advise rulers on matters of state. In this way, the heavens weren't just a source of wonder, they were a guide for governance, shaping decisions that affected millions of lives. But the influence of star maps extended far beyond the imperial court. They were also essential for agriculture, helping farmers determine the best times to plant and harvest crops. The Chinese calendar, deeply intertwined with astronomical observations, divided the year into 24 solar terms, each marking a specific phase in the agricultural cycle. By aligning their work with the rhythms of the stars, farmers could maximize their yields and ensure the stability of their communities. This connection between the heavens and the earth was seen as natural and essential, a reflection of the balance that sustained life. What's particularly fascinating about Chinese star maps is how they embody the concept of Tian Renhiyi, the unity of heaven and humanity. This philosophy held that the cosmos and human society were interconnected, each influencing the other in a delicate dance of harmony. The stars weren't distant, untouchable entities. They were active participants in the unfolding of history. This belief shaped not only their scientific pursuits but also their art, literature, and philosophy, creating a worldview where the natural and the spiritual were inseparable. The legacy of these ancient star maps is still felt today. They remind us of the power of observation and the human desire to find meaning in the cosmos. While modern technology has given us tools far beyond the reach of ancient astronomers, the questions they asked about our place in the universe and our connection to the natural world are as relevant as ever. The Chinese star maps are more than just historical artifacts. They are a testament to the enduring quest to understand the mysteries of the heavens and our role within them. While many ancient civilizations turned to the stars for guidance, the Greeks took a different approach, one that sought to explain the natural world through reason and observation. This marked a pivotal shift in human thought, as philosophers like Aristotle and Ptolemy began to bridge the gap between myth and science. Instead of attributing celestial events to the whims of gods, they asked questions like, why does the wind blow? Or what causes the stars to move? These inquiries laid the foundation for a new way of understanding the universe, one rooted in logic and evidence rather than superstition. Aristotle, often regarded as one of the greatest thinkers of antiquity, made groundbreaking contributions to fields ranging from astronomy to meteorology. His work, Meteorologica, was one of the earliest attempts to systematically explain weather patterns, arguing that phenomena like rain, wind, and lightning could be understood through natural causes. He proposed that the Earth was composed of four elements: earth, water, air, and fire, and that their interactions shaped the world around us. While some of his ideas have since been disproven, his emphasis on observation and classification set the stage for the scientific method, a cornerstone of modern science. In the realm of astronomy, Ptolemy's work, Almagest, became a cornerstone of celestial knowledge for over 1,000 years. Building on earlier Greek and Babylonian observations, Ptolemy meticulously mapped the movements of the planets, creating a model of the universe that placed Earth at its center. His geocentric theory, though ultimately incorrect, was a remarkable feat of mathematical precision and logical reasoning. It provided a framework that allowed astronomers to predict planetary positions with surprising accuracy, influencing scientific thought well into the Renaissance. But the Greeks didn't stop at the stars. They also turned their gaze to the Earth itself, pioneering the study of geography. Strabo, a Greek scholar of the 1st century, compiled a comprehensive work called Geographica, which described the known world in astonishing detail. From the Mediterranean to India, Strabo's writings blended first-hand accounts with theoretical insights, offering a glimpse into how the Greeks viewed their place in the world. This blend of observation and theory was a hallmark of Greek thought, reflecting their belief that the natural world could be understood through careful study and rational inquiry. What set the Greek philosophers apart was their willingness to question assumptions and seek explanations. They didn't just accept the world as it appeared, they sought to uncover the principles that governed it. This spirit of curiosity and skepticism became a defining feature of their intellectual legacy, inspiring later thinkers to build upon their work. While their theories weren't always correct, their methods rooted in observation, logic, and debate paved the way for the scientific traditions that followed. The influence of these Greek thinkers extended far beyond their own time. Their works were preserved and studied by Islamic scholars during the Middle Ages, later reintroduced to Europe during the Renaissance, and became the foundation for the scientific revolution. From Galileo to Newton, the ideas of Aristotle and Ptolemy served as both a starting point and a challenge, pushing later scientists to refine, question, and ultimately expand our understanding of the universe. In their quest to explain the natural world, the Greek philosophers remind us of the power of curiosity and the importance of asking questions. They showed that the universe is not a mystery to be feared, but a puzzle to be solved, one observation at a time. Their legacy lives on in every telescope pointed at the stars, every weather forecast predicting a storm, and every map that helps us navigate the world. Through their eyes, we see not just the beginnings of science, but the enduring human desire to understand the wonders of nature. Long before science provided explanations for the natural world, myths and legends served as humanity's first attempt to make sense of the mysteries around them. These stories, passed down through generations, weren't just tales of gods and heroes, they were early frameworks for understanding the forces of nature. By weaving observations of the world into captivating narratives, ancient cultures preserved vital knowledge in a way that was both memorable and meaningful. Take the Greek myth of Persephone, for example. This story, which explains the changing of the seasons, begins with Persephone, the daughter of the harvest goddess Demeter, being abducted by Hades, the god of the underworld. Distraught, Demeter plunges the earth into eternal winter until a compromise is reached. Persephone spends part of the year with Hades and the other part with her mother. When she returns to the surface, Demeter's joy brings spring and summer. When she descends to the underworld, the world grows cold and barren. This myth not only captures the cyclical nature of the seasons, but also reflects the ancient Greeks' deep connection to agriculture and the rhythms of the earth. Similarly, Norse mythology offers a cosmic explanation for the natural world through the story of Yggdrasil, the world tree. This immense ash tree connects the 9 realms of existence from the heavens to the underworld, with its roots and branches symbolizing the interconnectedness of all things. The health of Yggdrasil determines the balance of the universe. Its leaves wither when chaos reigns, and its fruit nourishes the gods. This myth reflects the Norse understanding of nature as a delicate, living system, one that requires harmony to thrive. These stories were more than just imaginative tales. They were tools for teaching and preserving knowledge. By embedding observations of the natural world into mythology, ancient cultures made complex ideas accessible to everyone, regardless of their ability to read or write. Myths like Persephone's or Yggdrasil's carried practical lessons about planting cycles, weather patterns, and the importance of balance in nature. They also conveyed moral and spiritual values, reinforcing the idea that humans were part of a larger cosmic order. What's fascinating is how these myths often mirrored the environments in which they were created. The Greeks, living in a land of fertile plains and dramatic seasons, told stories that emphasized cycles of growth and decay. The Norse, surrounded by dense forests and harsh winters, envisioned a universe held together by a mighty tree. These narratives weren't just abstract ideas. They were deeply rooted in the landscapes and experiences of the people who told them. Mythology also served as a bridge between the observable and the incomprehensible. Before the development of scientific tools, phenomena like eclipses, storms, or earthquakes were difficult to explain. By attributing these events to the actions of gods or spirits, myths provided a sense of order and predictability in an unpredictable world. They offered comfort, explaining the unexplainable in a way that felt both familiar and divine. Today, these ancient stories remind us of the power of storytelling as a way to understand and connect with the world. While science has given us new tools to explore the natural world, the themes of these myths, cycles, balance, and interconnectedness still resonate. They remind us that our ancestors saw themselves not as separate from nature, but as part of a larger, living system. And in their myths, we find echoes of our own search for meaning and our desire to make sense of the wonders around us. The Inca civilization, stretching across the Andes Mountains, left behind no written records in the traditional sense. Instead, they developed a remarkable system of communication and record-keeping that was as ingenious as it was unique, the Quipu. Imagine a series of colorful cords, each tied with intricate knots, hanging like a tapestry of information. These weren't just decorative, they were a sophisticated method of encoding data, used to record everything from census numbers to astronomical observations. The Quipu was more than a tool. It was a language of knots, a way to preserve knowledge in a form that could be read, interpreted, and passed down through generations. At its core, the Quipu was a numerical system. Each knot represented a specific value, with the position, size, and type of knot conveying different meanings. A single Quipu could contain hundreds of cords, each one meticulously arranged to tell a story or record a set of data. For example, a Quipu might document the harvest yields of a particular region, with different colors representing different crops and knots indicating quantities. This system allowed the Inca to manage their vast empire with remarkable efficiency, tracking resources, labor, and even tribute payments across thousands of miles. But the Quipu wasn't just about numbers. Some researchers believe that these knotted cords also encoded narrative information, such as histories, myths, or even poetry. The colors of the cords, the materials used, and the way they were tied may have carried symbolic meanings, turning each Quipu into a kind of three-dimensional text. While much of this narrative aspect remains a mystery, it's clear that the Quipu was more than a simple accounting tool. It was a medium for preserving the cultural and intellectual life of the Inca. One of the most fascinating uses of the Quipu was in recording astronomical observations. The Inca were keen observers of the sky, using the movements of the sun, moon, and stars to guide their agricultural and ceremonial calendars. Quipus may have been used to track celestial events such as solstices and equinoxes, which were crucial for determining planting and harvesting times. By encoding this information in knots, the Inca created a portable, durable record that could be easily transported and consulted across their mountainous terrain. The Quipu also played a central role in Inca administration. In an empire without a written language, these knotted cords were essential for communication between local leaders and the central government in Cusco. Messengers known as chasquis would carry quipus across the empire's extensive network of roads, delivering vital information with speed and precision. This system of record-keeping and communication was so effective that it helped the Inca maintain control over one of the largest and most diverse empires in the ancient world. Despite their ingenuity, the Quipu remains one of the great puzzles of Inca civilization. When the Spanish arrived in the 16th century, they destroyed many quipus, seeing them as symbols of a culture they sought to suppress. Today, only a few hundred quipus survive, and much of their meaning has been lost. Yet, through the work of modern scholars, we're beginning to unravel their secrets, gaining new insights into how the Inca recorded and understood the world around them. The Quipu is a testament to human creativity and adaptability. In a world without paper or ink, the Inca developed a system that was both practical and profound, capable of capturing the complexities of their society in a series of knots. It reminds us that there are many ways to record knowledge, and that innovation often arises from the unique challenges of a particular time and place. As we continue to decode these ancient cords, we uncover not just the history of the Inca, but a deeper understanding of how humans have always sought to make sense of the world and preserve their stories for the future. For tens of thousands of years, indigenous Australian cultures have held a profound connection to the land, one that is woven into the very fabric of their identity. At the heart of this relationship lies the Dreamtime, a rich tapestry of stories, songs, and rituals that explain the origins of the natural world and humanity's place within it. These aren't just tales from the past, they are living traditions passed down through generations that continue to shape how Indigenous Australians understand and interact with their environment. Unlike the written records of other civilizations, the Dreamtime relies on oral traditions, where knowledge is shared through storytelling, dance, and art, creating a vibrant and enduring link to the land. Dreamtime stories often center on ancestral beings, powerful spirits who shaped the world during a time of creation. These beings traveled across the land, carving rivers, raising mountains, and scattering stars across the sky. Every natural feature, from the winding path of a creek to the jagged peak of a mountain, is imbued with meaning tied to the actions of these ancestral figures. For example, the story of the rainbow serpent, a powerful creator spirit found in many indigenous cultures, explains the formation of rivers and waterholes as it moved across the land. These stories aren't just explanations, they are lessons, teaching respect for the environment and the importance of living in harmony with nature. What makes the Dreamtime particularly fascinating is how it blends cosmology with practical ecological knowledge. Indigenous Australians didn't just see the land as a resource, they saw it as a living entity filled with stories and spirits. Their deep understanding of the environment, honed over millennia, allowed them to thrive in some of the harshest landscapes on Earth. They knew when certain plants would bloom, where to find water in the driest seasons, and how to manage the land through practices like controlled burning, which prevented destructive wildfires and encouraged new growth. This knowledge wasn't written down in books, it was encoded in Dreamtime stories, ensuring that each generation could learn from the wisdom of their ancestors. The role of oral traditions in preserving this knowledge cannot be overstated. In a culture without written language, storytelling became the primary means of passing down vital information. Elders, as the keepers of this knowledge, played a crucial role, sharing stories around campfires or during ceremonies. These narratives weren't static, they evolved over time, adapting to new circumstances while retaining their core teachings. Songs and dances, often accompanied by didgeridoos and clapsticks, added rhythm and emotion to the stories, making them easier to remember and share. This oral tradition wasn't just about preservation, it was about connection, linking people to their ancestors, their land, and each other. One of the most striking aspects of Dreamtime stories is their universality. While each indigenous group has its own unique traditions, the themes of creation, connection, and respect for the land are shared across cultures. These stories remind us that the natural world is not something to be conquered or exploited, but something to be understood and cared for. They offer a perspective that is both ancient and deeply relevant today, as we grapple with environmental challenges and seek to rebuild our relationship with the planet. The Dreamtime also highlights the resilience of indigenous cultures. Despite centuries of colonization and displacement, these stories have endured, a testament to the strength and adaptability of oral traditions. Today, they continue to inspire not only Indigenous Australians but people around the world, offering a model for how to live sustainably and respectfully within our environment. As we reflect on the Dreamtime, we're reminded of the power of storytelling to preserve knowledge, foster connection, and inspire action. These ancient narratives are more than just myths, they are a blueprint for understanding the world and our place within it. Through the Dreamtime, Indigenous Australians have shown us that the land is not just a resource, but a teacher, a healer, and a source of profound wisdom. And in their stories, we find a timeless reminder of the importance of listening to the earth and honoring the connections that bind us all. The ancient Persians were masters of innovation, and their ingenuity extended far beyond the realms of architecture and astronomy. One of their most fascinating creations was the water clock, a device that harnessed the steady flow of water to measure time with remarkable precision. Known as clepsydras, these clocks weren't just practical tools, they were a testament to the Persian ability to blend nature and technology in ways that shaped their society and advanced their understanding of the cosmos. At the heart of a Persian water clock was a simple yet elegant principle. Water would flow from one container to another at a constant rate, and the passage of time was marked by the rising or falling water level. The Persians refined this basic concept into intricate systems, often featuring multiple chambers and calibrated markings to track hours, minutes, and even seconds. These clocks were so accurate that they became essential for regulating daily activities, from market hours to court proceedings. But their significance went far beyond practicality. They were also deeply tied to the rhythms of the natural world. Water clocks played a crucial role in Persian religious practices, particularly in the Zoroastrian faith, which placed great importance on the precise timing of rituals. The rising and setting of the sun, the phases of the moon, and the changing seasons were all central to Zoroastrian worship, and water clocks helped ensure that ceremonies were performed at the correct moments. This connection between timekeeping and spirituality highlights how the Persians saw the natural world as a guide, not just for daily life but for their spiritual journey as well. What's truly remarkable about these devices is how they bridged the gap between observation and innovation. Persian astronomers used water clocks to track celestial events, such as the movements of stars and planets, which were essential for creating accurate calendars and predicting astronomical phenomena. The clocks allowed them to measure intervals with a level of precision that was unprecedented at the time, laying the groundwork for later scientific advancements. In this way, the water clock wasn't just a tool, it was a symbol of the Persian commitment to understanding and mastering the natural world. The design of these clocks also reflects the Persian appreciation for beauty and craftsmanship. Many water clocks were adorned with intricate carvings and inscriptions, turning them into works of art as much as instruments of science. Some even featured automated figures or musical mechanisms that would chime at specific intervals, adding a touch of wonder to the practical task of timekeeping. This blend of functionality and artistry underscores the Persian belief that technology should not only serve a purpose, but also inspire and elevate the human spirit. The legacy of the Persian water clock extends far beyond its time. It influenced the development of timekeeping devices in other cultures, from the Islamic world to medieval Europe, and laid the foundation for the mechanical clocks that would later revolutionize how humans measure time. But perhaps its greatest contribution was the way it embodied the Persian worldview, a perspective that saw no separation between nature and technology, science and spirituality, or beauty and utility. As we look back at these ancient devices, we're reminded of the power of observation and innovation. The Persian water clock wasn't just a way to measure time. It was a way to connect with the rhythms of the universe, to honor the natural world, and to celebrate the ingenuity of the human mind. In its steady flow, we find a timeless reminder of how curiosity and creativity can transform the ordinary into the extraordinary. Among the most iconic artifacts of the ancient world stands the Aztec Sunstone, a massive circular monument that captures the essence of an entire civilization's understanding of time, the cosmos, and their place within it. Carved from a single piece of basalt weighing over 24 tons, this intricate masterpiece is more than just a calendar. It is a visual encyclopedia of Aztec cosmology, a stone canvas that tells the story of creation, destruction, and the eternal cycles that govern life. At first glance, the sunstone's elaborate carvings might seem like a chaotic jumble of symbols, but each detail holds meaning, revealing the Aztecs' profound connection to the natural and celestial worlds. At the center of the sunstone is the face of Tonatiuh, the sun god, whose fiery expression embodies the life-giving force of the sun. Surrounding him are 4 square panels, each representing a previous era or sun that ended in catastrophe. According to Aztec belief, the world had undergone 4 cycles of creation and destruction, each ruled by a different element: earth, wind, fire, and water. The current era, known as the 5th sun, is depicted in the center, a time when the Aztecs believed they were tasked with sustaining the cosmos through rituals and offerings to the gods. This cyclical view of time wasn't just a philosophical idea, it shaped every aspect of Aztec life, from agriculture to warfare, as they sought to maintain the delicate balance between order and chaos. Radiating outward from Tonatiuh are concentric rings filled with intricate glyphs and symbols, each layer representing a different aspect of Aztec cosmology. One of the most striking features is the ring of 20-day signs, which make up the Tonalpohualli, or the sacred calendar. This 260-day cycle was used for religious ceremonies and divination, guiding everything from the timing of rituals to the fate of individuals based on their birth date. Interwoven with this is the Zu-Pohualli, the 365-day solar calendar tied to the agricultural year, which tracked the seasons and ensured the timing of planting and harvesting aligned with the rhythms of nature. Together, these 2 calendars created a complex system that allowed the Aztecs to navigate both the spiritual and practical dimensions of their world. The outermost ring of the sunstone is adorned with symbols of celestial bodies and natural forces, including stars, flames, and serpents. These elements weren't just decorative, they symbolized the interconnectedness of the heavens and the earth, a reminder that the Aztecs saw themselves as part of a larger cosmic order. The serpents, for example, were associated with the god Quetzalcoatl, a deity linked to creation, wisdom, and the cycles of life and death. By incorporating these symbols into the sunstone, the Aztecs created a visual narrative that reinforced their belief in the unity of all things, from the smallest plant to the farthest star. What makes the sun stone particularly remarkable is its dual purpose as both a scientific tool and a spiritual artifact. While it served as a precise calendar, it was also a sacred object, deeply intertwined with Aztec religious practices. During ceremonies, it may have been used as a platform for offerings or as a focal point for rituals honoring the sun god. This blending of science and spirituality reflects a worldview where the natural and the divine were inseparable, where the passage of time wasn't just measured but revered. Today, the Aztec sun stone stands as a testament to the ingenuity and vision of a civilization that saw the universe as a living, breathing entity. Its intricate carvings remind us that the Aztecs weren't just observers of the natural world. They were active participants, striving to understand and influence the forces that shaped their lives. As we study this ancient artifact, we're reminded of the timeless human desire to make sense of the cosmos and our place within it. The sun stone is more than just a relic of the past. It is a bridge between the ancient and the modern, a symbol of our shared quest to find meaning in the cycles of time and the wonders of nature. Long before written language emerged, art served as one of humanity's earliest forms of communication and documentation. From the walls of caves to the surfaces of pottery, ancient peoples used art to capture the world around them, preserving their observations of nature in vivid and enduring detail. These artistic records offer us a unique window into how early humans perceived their environment, revealing not only what they saw but how they understood and connected with it. Take, for example, the cave paintings of Lascaux in France, created over 17,000 years ago. These stunning works of art depict a menagerie of animals: bison, horses, deer, rendered with such lifelike precision that they seem to leap off the walls. But these images weren't just decorative, they were deeply meaningful. Many scholars believe they served as a form of storytelling or ritual, capturing the animals that were central to the survival of the community. By immortalizing these creatures in art, early humans may have been expressing gratitude, seeking blessings for successful hunts, or even attempting to influence the natural world through symbolic representation. Pottery, too, became a canvas for documenting nature. In ancient Mesopotamia, intricately painted ceramics often featured scenes of plants, animals, and even celestial bodies. These designs weren't merely aesthetic, they reflected the daily lives and spiritual beliefs of the people who created them. A pot adorned with images of grain or fish, for instance, might symbolize abundance and fertility, while a vessel decorated with stars could signify a connection to the heavens. Through these artistic expressions, early humans wove their observations of the natural world into the fabric of their culture, creating a visual language that transcended words. What's particularly fascinating is how these ancient artworks reveal a deep understanding of the natural environment. In the cave paintings of Chauvet, France, for instance, the artists captured the movement and behavior of animals with astonishing accuracy, suggesting a keen awareness of their habits and interactions. Similarly, the pottery of the Moche civilization in ancient Peru often depicted detailed scenes of marine life, reflecting their reliance on the ocean for sustenance. These artistic records weren't just passive observations, they were active engagements with the world, a way for early humans to process and interpret their surroundings. Art also played a role in documenting celestial events. In the American Southwest, for example, ancient petroglyphs carved into rock faces depict symbols that some researchers believe represent solar eclipses or meteor showers. These carvings, etched by ancestral Puebloans, may have served as a way to record significant astronomical events, passing down knowledge of the heavens through visual storytelling. Similarly, in ancient China, jade discs known as bai were often decorated with star-like patterns, possibly reflecting early observations of constellations. Through these artistic expressions, we gain insight into how early humans made sense of the world. Their art wasn't just about capturing what they saw, it was about interpreting it, finding meaning in the patterns and cycles of nature. Whether it was the migration of animals, the growth of plants, or the movement of the stars, these early artists transformed their observations into a shared language, one that connected them to each other and to the world around them. Today, these ancient artworks remind us of the timeless human impulse to create, to document, and to find beauty in the natural world. They show us that even in the absence of written records, our ancestors found ways to preserve their knowledge and share their stories. Through their eyes, we see not just the world as it was, but the world as they experienced it, a place of wonder, mystery, and profound connection. And in their art, we find a mirror of our own desire to understand, to express, and to leave a lasting mark on the world. In the heart of ancient Egypt, along the bustling shores of the Mediterranean, stood one of the most extraordinary institutions the world has ever known, the Library of Alexandria. More than just a repository of scrolls, this legendary library was a beacon of knowledge, a place where the wisdom of the ancient world was gathered, studied, and preserved. At its height, it housed hundreds of thousands of texts, covering everything from astronomy and geography to botany and zoology. For scholars of the time, it was nothing short of a paradise, a place where the mysteries of nature could be unraveled, one scroll at a time. The Library of Alexandria wasn't just a passive collection of books. It was a vibrant hub of intellectual activity. Scholars from across the Mediterranean and beyond flocked to its halls, drawn by the promise of accessing its unparalleled collection. Among its treasures were works by the greatest minds of antiquity, including the astronomical treatises of Hipparchus, the geographical studies of Eratosthenes, and the botanical writings of Theophrastus. These texts weren't just stored, they were actively studied, debated, and expanded upon, fueling a golden age of scientific discovery. One of the library's most significant contributions was its role in advancing the study of astronomy. The works of Ptolemy, whose geocentric model of the universe would dominate scientific thought for centuries, were heavily influenced by the observations and calculations preserved in Alexandria's archives. The library also housed detailed star charts and records of celestial events, allowing scholars to track the movements of planets and predict phenomena like eclipses with remarkable accuracy. This wealth of knowledge didn't just satisfy curiosity, it shaped the way people understood their place in the cosmos, but the library's scope extended far beyond the stars. Its shelves were filled with texts on geography, including maps that charted the known world from the Mediterranean to India. Eratosthenes, the library's chief librarian, famously calculated the Earth's circumference with astonishing precision, using nothing more than shadows and simple geometry. His work laid the foundation for modern geography, proving that even in antiquity, humans were capable of extraordinary feats of measurement and reasoning. Natural history was another area where the library excelled. Texts on plants, animals, and minerals were meticulously catalogued, offering insights into the diversity of life on Earth. These works weren't just descriptive, they were analytical, exploring the properties of medicinal herbs, the behavior of animals, and the formation of geological features. This systematic approach to studying nature marked a turning point in human thought, as scholars began to move beyond myth and toward empirical observation. The Library of Alexandria also played a crucial role in preserving knowledge. Many of the texts it collected were translations of works from other cultures, including Babylonian astronomical records and Indian medical treatises. By bringing these diverse sources together, the library created a bridge between civilizations, ensuring that the insights of one culture could inform and enrich another. This exchange of ideas was a hallmark of the library's mission, reflecting a belief in the universality of knowledge, Tragically, the library's glory was not to last. Over time, fires, wars, and political upheaval led to its gradual decline, and much of its collection was lost to history. But the legacy of the Library of Alexandria endures. It reminds us of the power of curiosity, the importance of preserving knowledge, and the transformative impact of bringing people and ideas together. In its halls, the ancient world found a space to explore the wonders of nature, to ask questions, and to seek answers. And in its story, we find inspiration to continue that quest, to build our own libraries, not just of books but of understanding, that illuminate the mysteries of the world around us. The vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean, stretching across thousands of miles, might seem like an insurmountable barrier to most, but for the Polynesian navigators, it was a highway, a living, breathing map that they learned to read with unparalleled skill. Without compasses, maps, or written records, these master sailors traversed the open sea, guided by the stars, the waves, and even the flight patterns of birds. Their ability to navigate such immense distances wasn't just a feat of endurance. It was a testament to their deep understanding of the natural world and their unwavering trust in the wisdom passed down through generations. At the heart of Polynesian navigation was an intimate knowledge of the night sky. The stars weren't just distant lights to the Polynesians, they were landmarks, fixed points in a celestial map that guided their journeys. Navigators memorized the positions of key stars and constellations, using them as reference points to determine direction and location. For example, the rising and setting of certain stars along the horizon could indicate not only the cardinal directions but also specific island locations. This celestial navigation, known as wayfinding, required years of training and a near-encyclopedic memory of the heavens, but the stars were only part of the story. Polynesian navigators also relied on the ocean itself, reading its subtle signs like a living book. Waves, for instance, behaved differently depending on their proximity to land. By observing the patterns of swells and currents, navigators could detect the presence of islands long before they were visible on the horizon. The color and temperature of the water provided additional clues, with certain shades indicating shallow reefs or the approach of land. Even the behavior of marine life, such as schools of fish or flocks of seabirds, could signal the direction of the nearest island. Birds, in particular, played a crucial role in Polynesian navigation. Certain species, like the frigatebird, were known to fly out to sea in search of food but always return to land at night. By observing the flight paths of these birds, navigators could estimate the distance and direction of islands, even when they were hundreds of miles away. This ecological knowledge, combined with their understanding of the stars and waves, allowed Polynesian sailors to venture into the unknown with confidence. What's truly remarkable is how this knowledge was preserved and transmitted. In a culture without written language, Polynesian navigators relied on oral traditions, songs, chants, and stories to pass down their skills and wisdom. These narratives weren't just practical guides, they were cultural treasures imbued with the values and history of their people. Young navigators learned by listening to their elders, memorizing intricate details about star positions, wave patterns, and bird behavior. This apprenticeship system ensured that the art of wayfinding was preserved with astonishing accuracy, even across generations. The achievements of Polynesian navigators weren't just technical, they were deeply spiritual. The ocean was seen as a sacred space, a realm where humans and nature were interconnected. Navigators often performed rituals before setting sail, seeking the blessings of their ancestors and the gods. This blend of science and spirituality reflects a world view where knowledge wasn't just about survival. It was about harmony with the natural world and respect for the forces that shaped it. Today, the legacy of Polynesian navigation continues to inspire. modern sailors and scholars have studied their techniques, marveling at the precision and ingenuity of these ancient mariners. But more than that, the Polynesian navigators remind us of the power of observation, the importance of tradition, and the enduring human desire to explore the unknown. Their journeys across the Pacific weren't just voyages of discovery, they were expressions of a profound connection to the stars, the sea, and the stories that bind us all. As we reflect on their achievements, we're reminded that the natural world is full of guides if only we learn to see them. The Polynesian navigators didn't just read the stars and waves, they listened to them, finding their way not through technology, but through a deep and abiding relationship with the world around them. And in their story, we find a timeless lesson that the path to understanding begins with curiosity, respect, and a willingness to learn from the wisdom of those who came before. Religion has long been a driving force behind humanity's quest to understand and document the natural world. Across cultures and centuries, spiritual beliefs have not only shaped how people perceived nature, but also how they recorded its wonders. For many ancient civilizations, the natural world was not separate from the divine. It was a manifestation of the sacred, a living testament to the power and order of the cosmos. This profound connection between the spiritual and the natural inspired some of the earliest and most detailed records of natural phenomena, blending observation with reverence in ways that still resonate today. Take the Hindu Vedas, for example. These ancient texts, composed over 3,000 years ago, are filled with hymns and prayers that celebrate the forces of nature as divine beings. The sun, the wind, the rivers, each was personified as a god or goddess, worshipped and honored through poetry and ritual. The Rig Veda, one of the oldest Vedic texts, contains hymns dedicated to Agni, the god of fire, and Indra, the god of rain and thunder. These hymns weren't just expressions of devotion, they were also meticulous observations of natural cycles, capturing the rhythms of the seasons and the patterns of the weather in vivid detail. By weaving their understanding of nature into their spiritual practices, the Vedic people created a living record of their environment, one that continues to inspire and inform to this day. In medieval Europe, Christian monks carried on this tradition of blending faith with observation. Monasteries became centers of learning and record-keeping, where monks meticulously documented everything from the movements of the stars to the changing of the seasons. These records, often kept in beautifully illuminated manuscripts, were more than just scientific data. They were acts of devotion, a way of honoring God's creation by studying its intricacies. The Anglo-Saxon Chronicle, for instance, includes detailed accounts of eclipses, comets, and even extreme weather events, all framed within the context of divine providence. For these monks, recording the natural world was a spiritual duty, a way of bearing witness to the wonders of creation and discerning the hand of the divine in the workings of the universe. What's fascinating is how these religiously motivated records often transcended their spiritual origins to become valuable scientific resources. The Hindu Vedas, for example, contain some of the earliest known references to the water cycle, describing how rain forms and flows into rivers which then return to the sea. Similarly, the weather diaries kept by medieval monks have provided modern researchers with invaluable data on historical climate patterns, helping us understand how the Earth's climate has changed over time. This dual-purpose spiritual and scientific highlights the profound interconnectedness of faith and knowledge in these traditions. Religious practices also influenced the way natural phenomena were interpreted and understood. In many cultures, celestial events like eclipses or comets were seen as omens, messages from the gods that required careful interpretation. The Mayans, for instance, viewed Venus not just as a planet but as a divine entity whose movements could predict the outcomes of wars and the fate of rulers. By documenting these events in their codices, they created a bridge between the celestial and the earthly, using their observations to guide both their spiritual and political lives. At the heart of these traditions is a shared belief in the sacredness of nature, a belief that the world is not just a collection of random events but a carefully ordered system, imbued with meaning and purpose. Whether through the hymns of the Vedas or the weather diaries of medieval monks, these records remind us that the act of observing and documenting the natural world is in many ways a spiritual practice. It's a way of connecting with something greater than ourselves, of finding order in the chaos and meaning in the mundane. As we explore these ancient records, we're reminded that the quest to understand nature is as much about wonder as it is about knowledge. The Hindu sages and Christian monks who documented the world around them weren't just seeking answers, they were seeking connection, a deeper understanding of their place in the cosmos. And in their words and works, we find a timeless invitation to look at the world with fresh eyes, to see not just the patterns of nature but the beauty and mystery that lie at its heart. In the dimly lit scriptoriums of medieval monasteries, a unique type of manuscript came to life, one that captured the imagination of its time and continues to fascinate us today. These were the medieval bestiaries, richly illustrated books that catalogued the creatures of the world, both real and imagined. Within their pages, lions roared alongside griffins and whales swam beside sea serpents. But these weren't just simple catalogues of animals. They were windows into a world where nature and myth were inseparable, where every creature, no matter how fantastical, carried a deeper meaning. The bestiaries were more than just collections of animal descriptions. They were moral and spiritual guides, filled with symbolism that reflected the medieval understanding of the world. Each entry, whether describing a common fox or a mythical phoenix, was accompanied by a moral lesson or allegory. For example, the pelican, often depicted piercing its own breast to feed its young with its blood, was seen as a symbol of Christ's sacrifice. The lion, with its reputation for erasing its tracks with its tail, was said to represent Jesus hiding his divine nature from the world. These symbolic interpretations turn the natural world into a canvas for spiritual reflection, blurring the lines between observation and imagination. What's particularly intriguing is how these manuscripts blended fact and fiction. Alongside accurate depictions of animals like dogs and birds were fantastical creatures like the unicorn and the basilisk. The unicorn, often described as a pure and elusive beast that could only be tamed by a virgin, symbolized purity and grace. The basilisk, a serpent said to kill with a single glance, represented evil and danger. While these creatures may seem purely mythical to us, for medieval readers, they were as real as the animals they encountered in their daily lives. This blending of the real and the imagined reflects a world view where the boundaries between the natural and the supernatural were fluid, where the wonders of the world were seen as evidence of divine creation. The illustrations in these manuscripts were just as important as the text. Painstakingly crafted by skilled artists, the images brought the animals to life in vivid detail, often with a whimsical or exaggerated flair. A whale might be depicted as an island, luring sailors to their doom, while a hedgehog could be shown rolling on grapes to carry them back to its burrow. These images weren't just decorative, they were designed to captivate and instruct, drawing the reader into a world where every creature had a story to tell. But the bestiaries weren't just about storytelling, they also reveal the medieval approach to knowledge. In an age before the scientific method, observation and interpretation were deeply intertwined. The natural world was seen as a book written by God, and every creature was a word or a sentence waiting to be decoded. By studying animals, medieval scholars believed they could uncover deeper truths about the divine order and humanity's place within it. This approach to nature, where the physical and the spiritual were inseparable, shaped how people understood and interacted with the world around them. Today, the medieval bestiaries offer us a glimpse into a world where wonder and wisdom walked hand in hand. They remind us that the desire to understand nature is as much about imagination as it is about observation. Through their pages, we see a reflection of the medieval mind, a mind that saw the world not just as it was, but as it could be, filled with mystery, meaning, and endless possibilities. These manuscripts are more than just relics of the past. They are a testament to the enduring human impulse to find meaning in the natural world, to see the extraordinary in the ordinary, and to weave stories that connect us to something greater than ourselves. During the Islamic Golden Age, spanning roughly from the 8th to the 13th centuries, a remarkable flourishing of knowledge transformed the world. This era saw Islamic scholars not only preserve the wisdom of ancient civilizations but also expand upon it, pushing the boundaries of astronomy, geography, and natural history. At a time when much of Europe was in the midst of the so-called Dark Ages, the Islamic world became a beacon of intellectual progress, bridging the gap between antiquity and the Renaissance. One of the most significant contributions of this period was the translation movement. Centered in cities like Baghdad, scholars worked tirelessly to translate ancient Greek, Persian, and Indian texts into Arabic, ensuring that the works of thinkers like Aristotle, Ptolemy, and Hippocrates were not lost to history. But they didn't stop there. They also critiqued, corrected, and built upon these texts, creating a vibrant intellectual tradition that blended the old with the new. This fusion of ideas laid the groundwork for advancements that would shape the course of human knowledge for centuries to come. In the field of astronomy, Islamic scholars made groundbreaking strides. Building on the work of Ptolemy, they refined the understanding of planetary motion, developed more accurate astronomical tables, and even constructed sophisticated instruments like the astrolabe. The astrolabe, a handheld device used to measure the positions of stars and planets, became an indispensable tool for astronomers, navigators, and timekeepers. Scholars like al-Battani and al-Farghani made precise observations of celestial bodies, correcting errors in earlier models and contributing to the development of modern astronomy. Their work wasn't just theoretical, it had practical applications, from determining prayer times to guiding travelers across vast deserts. Geography was another area where Islamic scholars excelled. Al-Idrisi, a 12th century geographer, created one of the most detailed world maps of his time, combining the knowledge of Greek, Roman, and Islamic sources. His map, known as the Tabula Rogeriana, was accompanied by a comprehensive text that described the climates, cultures, and natural features of the known world. This work wasn't just a feat of cartography, it was a testament to the Islamic world's commitment to understanding and documenting the diversity of the Earth. Natural history also flourished during this period. Scholars like Al-Jahiz wrote extensively on the behavior and characteristics of animals, offering insights that were both scientific and philosophical. His book, Kitab al-Hayawan, the Book of Animals, is considered one of the earliest works of zoology, blending observation with thoughtful commentary on the interconnectedness of life. Similarly, Ibn Sina, known in the West as Avicenna, made significant contributions to botany and medicine, categorizing plants and their medicinal properties in ways that influenced European science for centuries. What set the Islamic Golden Age apart was its emphasis on observation and experimentation. Scholars didn't just rely on ancient texts, they tested ideas, corrected errors, and sought to understand the natural world through direct engagement. This spirit of inquiry was supported by the establishment of institutions like the House of Wisdom in Baghdad, a center of learning where scholars from diverse backgrounds came together to exchange ideas and push the boundaries of knowledge. The legacy of the Islamic Golden Age is profound. By preserving and expanding upon the wisdom of the past, these scholars ensured that the torch of knowledge continued to burn brightly, even during times of turmoil. Their work laid the foundation for the scientific revolution in Europe and continues to inspire us today. As we look back on this remarkable period, we're reminded of the power of curiosity, collaboration, and the enduring human desire to understand the world around us. Through their eyes, we see not just the wonders of nature, but the boundless potential of the human mind. The Renaissance was a time of rebirth, not just of art and culture, but of humanity's relationship with the natural world. After centuries of relative stagnation, Europe began to rediscover the ancient wisdom of civilizations like the Greeks, Romans, and Arabs, breathing new life into their observations and theories. This period, spanning roughly from the 14th to the 17th centuries, marked a turning point in how people studied and documented nature, blending the old with the new in ways that would forever change the course of science and art. At the heart of this transformation was a renewed interest in classical texts, many of which had been preserved and translated by Islamic scholars during the Middle Ages. Works by Aristotle, Ptolemy, and Pliny the Elder found their way into the hands of Renaissance thinkers, sparking a wave of curiosity and innovation. But the Renaissance wasn't just about looking back. It was about building upon that ancient foundation, using observation and experimentation to push the boundaries of knowledge further than ever before. One of the most iconic figures of this era was Leonardo da Vinci, a man whose genius bridged the worlds of art and science. Leonardo wasn't content to simply paint the world, he wanted to understand it. His notebooks, filled with intricate sketches and detailed observations, reveal a mind obsessed with the mechanics of nature. From the flow of water to the flight of birds, Leonardo studied the natural world with a level of precision that was unprecedented. His famous Vitruvian Man, a study of human proportions, wasn't just a work of art, it was a scientific exploration of the harmony between the human body and the universe. Leonardo's approach was emblematic of the Renaissance spirit, a deep respect for ancient knowledge paired with an insatiable desire to test and expand it. He dissected human corpses to better understand anatomy, sketched the intricate patterns of plant growth, and even designed machines inspired by the movements of animals. For Leonardo, art and science were two sides of the same coin, each informing and enriching the other. His work reminds us that the pursuit of knowledge isn't just about facts and figures, it's about seeing the world with fresh eyes and finding beauty in its complexity. The Renaissance also saw the rise of naturalists like Conrad Gessner, whose groundbreaking work, Historia Animalium, catalogued hundreds of species in meticulous detail. Gessner's work wasn't just a list of animals, it was a celebration of biodiversity, filled with vivid illustrations and observations drawn from both ancient texts and first-hand experience. His approach reflected a broader shift in how nature was studied. No longer just a backdrop for religious symbolism, the natural world became a subject of fascination in its own right. This period also witnessed the birth of modern botany thanks to figures like Leonhard Fuchs. His detailed illustrations of plants published in works like De Historia Stirpium weren't just beautiful, they were scientifically accurate, providing a foundation for future botanical studies. Fuchs and his contemporaries didn't just rely on ancient texts, they ventured into the field, observing plants in their natural habitats and documenting their findings with care and precision. This hands-on approach marked a significant departure from earlier methods, paving the way for the scientific revolution. What made the Renaissance truly transformative was its ability to connect the dots between the past and the future. By rediscovering ancient wisdom and combining it with new observations, thinkers of this era created a bridge between antiquity and modernity. They showed that progress isn't about discarding the old, but about building upon it, using curiosity and creativity to unlock new possibilities. As we look back on this remarkable period, we're reminded of the power of interdisciplinary thinking. The Renaissance wasn't just a time of scientific discovery or artistic achievement. It was a moment when these fields came together, enriching each other in ways that continue to inspire us today. Through the eyes of figures like Leonardo da Vinci, we see a world where art and science are inseparable, where the pursuit of knowledge is as much about wonder as it is about understanding. And in their work, we find a timeless invitation to explore, to question, and to see the natural world not just as it is, but as it could be. As we journey through the annals of human history, one truth becomes increasingly clear. The wisdom of ancient and indigenous cultures holds profound relevance even in our modern world. Today, as we grapple with pressing global challenges like climate change and biodiversity loss, scientists and conservationists are turning to traditional ecological knowledge, centuries-old practices and insights honed by indigenous peoples to find sustainable solutions. This rediscovery isn't just a nod to the past. It's a recognition of the enduring value of indigenous ways of understanding and interacting with the natural world. Take, for example, the role of indigenous fire management practices in Australia. For tens of thousands of years, Aboriginal communities have used controlled burns to manage the landscape, reducing the risk of catastrophic wildfires and promoting the growth of diverse plant and animal species. Known as cultural burning, this practice was long dismissed by colonial authorities, but in recent decades, as wildfires have grown more intense and frequent, scientists and land managers have begun to see its wisdom. Studies have shown that these traditional methods not only prevent large-scale fires but also restore ecosystems, enhancing biodiversity and resilience. Today, cultural burning is being integrated into modern fire management strategies, a powerful example of how ancient knowledge can address contemporary challenges. Similarly, in the Amazon rainforest, indigenous communities have long practiced agroforestry, a method of cultivating crops within the forest rather than clearing it. This approach not only sustains food production, but also preserves the forest's biodiversity and carbon storage capacity. Recent research has confirmed that indigenous managed lands in the Amazon are among the most biodiverse and carbon-rich areas on Earth, playing a crucial role in mitigating climate change. By valuing and incorporating these traditional practices, conservationists are finding new ways to protect one of the planet's most vital ecosystems. Indigenous knowledge is also reshaping how we approach climate science. In the Arctic, where warming is occurring at twice the global average, indigenous communities have been observing and adapting to environmental changes for generations. Their detailed understanding of ice patterns, animal behavior, and weather cycles provides invaluable data for climate models, offering insights that satellite imagery and scientific instruments alone cannot capture. This collaboration between indigenous knowledge holders and climate scientists is helping to create more accurate predictions and effective adaptation strategies, bridging the gap between traditional wisdom and modern technology. What makes indigenous knowledge so powerful is its holistic approach. Unlike Western science, which often compartmentalizes nature into isolated systems, indigenous traditions view the environment as an interconnected web of relationships. This perspective, seeing humans not as separate from nature but as part of it, offers a profound shift in how we think about conservation and sustainability. It reminds us that protecting the planet isn't just about preserving resources, it's about fostering a deeper connection with the world around us. Yet, despite its growing recognition, indigenous knowledge still faces challenges. Centuries of colonization and marginalization have eroded many traditional practices, and the voices of indigenous peoples are often overlooked in decision-making processes. To truly harness the potential of this wisdom, we must not only learn from it but also support the communities who hold it. This means respecting indigenous land rights, empowering local leadership, and ensuring that knowledge sharing is done with consent and reciprocity. The rediscovery of indigenous knowledge is more than just a scientific trend, it's a call to re-examine our relationship with the natural world. By blending ancient wisdom with modern innovation, we can create solutions that are not only effective but also sustainable and equitable. In the words of Robin Wall Kimmerer, a botanist and member of the citizen Potawatomi Nation, traditional knowledge is not just about the past, it's about the future. It's about survival and it's about hope. As we face the challenges of the 21st century, the lessons of indigenous cultures remind us that the answers we seek may not lie in new technologies alone, but in the timeless wisdom of those who have lived in harmony with the earth for millennia. Their knowledge is a gift, one that invites us to listen, to learn, and to walk forward with humility and respect for the world we share. The meticulous records kept by ancient civilizations weren't just relics of their time. They were the seeds of modern science planted in the fertile soil of curiosity and observation. Today, disciplines like astronomy, meteorology, and ecology owe much of their foundation to these early attempts to document and understand the natural world. The stars, the weather, and the intricate web of life have always fascinated humanity, but it was the systematic recording of these phenomena that transformed wonder into knowledge and knowledge into progress. Consider the field of astronomy, where the work of ancient stargazers continues to resonate. The precise star charts of the Babylonians, the celestial alignments of the Mayans, and the detailed observations of Chinese astronomers have all contributed to our modern understanding of the cosmos. These records didn't just catalogue the heavens, they revealed patterns and cycles that would later form the basis of celestial mechanics. Even Ptolemy's geocentric model, though ultimately disproven, laid the groundwork for the mathematical frameworks that describe planetary motion. In a sense, every modern telescope pointed at the stars stands on the shoulders of these ancient observers, their legacy etched into the very fabric of astronomical science. Meteorology, too, has deep roots in the past. The weather diaries kept by medieval monks and the flood records of ancient Egyptians weren't just historical curiosities. They were early attempts to understand the forces that shape our environment. These records have proven invaluable to modern climatologists, offering insights into long-term weather patterns and helping us piece together the Earth's climate history. For instance, the meticulous documentation of the Nile's annual floods has allowed scientists to study how climate variability has influenced human civilization over millennia. By building on these ancient observations, we're better equipped to predict and adapt to the challenges of a changing climate. Ecology, the study of the relationships between living organisms and their environment, also finds its origins in the wisdom of the past. Indigenous practices, from controlled burns in Australia to agroforestry in the Amazon, demonstrate a profound understanding of ecosystem dynamics that modern science is only beginning to fully appreciate. These traditional methods, honed over centuries, offer sustainable solutions to contemporary issues like deforestation and biodiversity loss. By integrating this ancient knowledge with modern ecological research, we're rediscovering ways to live in harmony with the natural world rather than exploiting it. What's truly remarkable is how these ancient records continue to inspire new discoveries. Archaeoastronomy, for example, combines archaeology and astronomy to study how past cultures understood the skies. Sites like Stonehenge and Chichen Itza aren't just tourist attractions, they're laboratories for understanding how ancient civilizations used celestial events to shape their societies. Similarly, the revival of indigenous fire management practices is transforming how we approach wildfire prevention. blending traditional wisdom with cutting-edge science. The legacy of ancient records is more than just a historical footnote. It's a living, breathing part of modern science. They remind us that the pursuit of knowledge is a timeless endeavor, one that transcends cultures and centuries. In their observations, we see the roots of our own curiosity, the same drive to understand the world that propels us forward today. As we continue to explore the mysteries of the universe, the climate, and the ecosystems around us, we stand on the shoulders of those who came before, their insights lighting the way for the discoveries yet to come. In this ongoing journey, the past is not just a guide, it's a partner, offering lessons and inspiration as we strive to unlock the secrets of the natural world. And in that partnership, we find a powerful reminder that the quest to understand nature is not just a scientific endeavor, but a deeply human one, connecting us across time and space in a shared pursuit of knowledge and wonder. As we delve deeper into the study of ancient knowledge, we must pause to consider the ethical implications of this pursuit. While the records and practices of early civilizations offer invaluable insights, they also come with a responsibility, a duty to approach them with respect, humility, and a commitment to collaboration. The past is not a resource to be mined indiscriminately. It is a living legacy, deeply intertwined with the cultures and communities from which it originates. How, then, can we ensure that our curiosity and research honor this legacy rather than exploit it? One of the most pressing ethical challenges is the issue of cultural appropriation. For centuries, the knowledge and artifacts of indigenous and ancient cultures have been taken, often without consent, and repurposed to serve the interests of outsiders. Sacred objects have been displayed in museums as curiosities, traditional practices have been commercialized, and spiritual symbols have been stripped of their meaning. This not only disrespects the cultures that created these traditions, but also erases their voices from the narrative of their own history. As researchers and enthusiasts, we must recognize that ancient knowledge is not ours to claim. It belongs to the descendants of those who created it, and it must be approached with care and consent. The importance of respecting indigenous perspectives cannot be overstated. For many communities, the wisdom of their ancestors is not just a historical artifact, it is a living tradition, passed down through generations and deeply embedded in their identity. When outsiders interpret or use this knowledge without understanding its cultural context, they risk distorting its meaning and significance. This is why collaboration is so vital. By working directly with descendant communities, researchers can ensure that their work is guided by the values and priorities of those who hold this knowledge. This might involve seeking permission to study certain practices, compensating communities for their contributions, or even co-authoring research to ensure that indigenous voices are heard and respected. Modern research offers powerful tools for uncovering the secrets of the past, but these tools must be wielded thoughtfully. For example, advances in DNA analysis have allowed scientists to trace the origins of ancient peoples with unprecedented precision. Yet, such studies can also raise ethical concerns, particularly when they involve human remains. Many indigenous communities have strong beliefs about the treatment of their ancestors' remains, and these beliefs must be honored. In some cases, this has led to the repatriation of remains and artifacts to their rightful communities, a practice that acknowledges past wrongs and seeks to build a more respectful relationship moving forward. The ethics of studying ancient knowledge also extend to how we share it. In an age of instant information, it's tempting to present discoveries as definitive truths. But the reality is often more complex. Ancient records are open to interpretation, and their meaning can vary depending on the cultural lens through which they are viewed. By acknowledging this complexity and presenting multiple perspectives, researchers can foster a more nuanced and inclusive understanding of the past. This approach not only enriches our knowledge but also invites broader participation, creating space for diverse voices to contribute to the conversation. Ultimately, the study of ancient knowledge is as much about building relationships as it is about uncovering facts. It requires us to listen, to learn, and to recognize that the past is not a static thing. It is a living, breathing connection to the people and cultures that shaped it. By approaching this work with humility and respect, we can honor the legacy of those who came before us while forging a more equitable and collaborative path forward. In the end, the ethics of studying ancient knowledge remind us that science and scholarship are not just about discovery, they are about responsibility. They challenge us to consider not only what we can learn from the past, but also how we can learn from it in a way that respects and uplifts the communities who carry its legacy. This is not just a moral obligation, it is an opportunity to create a richer, more inclusive understanding of the world we share. And in that shared understanding, we find the true value of the past, not as a relic to be possessed, but as a bridge to a more connected and compassionate future. As we stand on the brink of a new era, the ways we record and understand the natural world are poised to undergo a transformation as profound as the shift from oral traditions to written language. Advances in technology, combined with the urgent need to address environmental challenges, are reshaping how we document and interact with nature. What might this look like for future civilizations? How will they capture the wonders of the earth and perhaps even beyond in ways that we can scarcely imagine today? One of the most exciting possibilities lies in the realm of digital archives. Imagine a world where every tree, every mountain, and every species is meticulously documented in a vast, interconnected database. High-resolution images, 3D scans, and real-time sensor data could create a living, breathing record of the planet's ecosystems. These archives wouldn't just be static snapshots, they'd be dynamic, evolving alongside the environment they track. Scientists and citizen scientists alike could contribute, building a global network of knowledge that's accessible to anyone with an internet connection. This democratization of data could revolutionize conservation efforts, enabling us to monitor changes in biodiversity, track the spread of invasive species, and even predict the impacts of climate change with unprecedented accuracy. Artificial intelligence, or AI, is another game changer in how we might record nature in the future. Already, AI is being used to analyze vast amounts of data from satellite imagery to wildlife camera footage. In the coming decades, it could take on an even greater role, autonomously identifying species, detecting patterns in animal behavior, and even predicting natural disasters before they occur. Imagine AI-powered drones patrolling forests, tracking the health of ecosystems in real time, or underwater robots mapping coral reefs with millimeter precision. These technologies wouldn't just enhance our understanding of nature, they could help us protect it in ways that were once unimaginable. But the future of recording nature isn't limited to Earth. As space exploration advances, we may begin to document the natural wonders of other planets and moons. Imagine sending probes to Europa, Jupiter's icy moon, to record its subsurface ocean, or deploying rovers on Mars to study its ancient riverbeds and dormant volcanoes. These missions could reveal entirely new forms of life or geological processes, expanding our understanding of what nature even means. And as we venture further into the cosmos, we might develop entirely new ways of recording and interpreting the environments we encounter, from the swirling storms of gas giants to the delicate rings of distant asteroids. Of course, these advancements come with challenges. As we create more sophisticated tools for recording nature, we'll also need to grapple with questions of privacy, ethics, and accessibility. Who owns the data we collect? How do we ensure that these technologies benefit all of humanity, not just a privileged few? And how do we balance the need for progress with the imperative to protect the very environments we're trying to study? These are complex issues, but there are also opportunities, chances to build a future where technology and nature coexist in harmony. What's clear is that the act of recording nature is evolving, driven by both necessity and innovation. Future civilizations may look back on our era as a turning point, a time when humanity began to see the world not just as a resource to exploit, but as a living system to understand and protect. Whether through digital archives, AI, or space exploration, the tools we develop will shape not only how we document the natural world, but how we relate to it. In this future, the wonders of nature won't just be recorded, they'll be celebrated, studied, and preserved for generations to come. And as we take these next steps, we carry with us the legacy of those who came before, reminding us that the quest to understand the world is as much about curiosity and connection as it is about knowledge. The future of recording nature is not just a technological challenge, it's a call to see the world with fresh eyes, to find wonder in the familiar, and to imagine the possibilities that lie ahead. The ways ancient civilizations recorded the wonders of nature are more than just historical curiosities. They are a treasure trove of wisdom for our modern world. Their methods, born out of necessity and curiosity, offer timeless lessons on how to observe, interpret, and protect the natural world. From meticulous astronomical records to symbolic cave paintings, these early efforts remind us that understanding nature is not just about collecting data, it's about forging a meaningful connection with the world around us. One of the most profound lessons we can take from ancient civilizations is the power of observation. Without the advanced tools we have today, early societies relied on their senses, watching the stars, tracking animal migrations, and noting the subtle changes in seasons. This deep, sustained attention to detail allowed them to predict phenomena like floods, eclipses, and harvest cycles with remarkable accuracy. In our fast-paced, technology-driven world, we often rely on algorithms and sensors to tell us what's happening in nature. But the ancients remind us that there's no substitute for first-hand observation, for truly seeing and engaging with the environment. Their example challenges us to slow down, to look closely, and to rediscover the wonder in the natural world. Storytelling is another vital legacy of these early cultures. For indigenous peoples, oral traditions were more than just a way to pass down knowledge. They were a way to embed lessons about the environment into the very fabric of society. Stories like the rainbow serpent in Australia or the cycles of Persephone in Greek mythology weren't just entertaining tales. They were practical guides, teaching respect for natural cycles and the importance of living in harmony with the earth. In an age dominated by data and statistics, we often overlook the power of narrative to inspire and educate. The ancients show us that stories can be both informative and transformative, weaving together knowledge and values in a way that resonates across generations. Perhaps the most striking lesson from the past is the value of interdisciplinary thinking. Ancient civilizations didn't separate science from art, spirituality from practicality. The Mayans blended astronomy with architecture, aligning their temples to celestial events. The Greeks saw philosophy and natural science as two sides of the same coin. This holistic approach allowed them to see connections that we, in our highly specialized world, often miss. Today, as we face complex challenges like climate change and biodiversity loss, this integrated perspective is more important than ever. It reminds us that solving these problems requires not just scientific expertise, but also creativity, cultural understanding, and a willingness to see the bigger picture. The ancients also teach us the importance of adaptability. Indigenous fire management practices in Australia, for example, were born out of a deep understanding of local ecosystems. These methods, honed over millennia, have proven to be more effective at preventing catastrophic wildfires than many modern techniques. Similarly, the Inca's Quipu system, a complex network of knotted cords, shows how innovation can emerge from necessity, even in the absence of written language. These examples remind us that sustainability isn't about imposing rigid solutions, but about listening to the land and adapting to its rhythms. Finally, the records left by early civilizations underscore the enduring human desire to make sense of the world. Whether carved into stone, painted on cave walls, or woven into intricate textiles, these records are a testament to our shared curiosity and creativity. They remind us that the quest to understand nature is not just a scientific endeavor, it's a deeply human one, driven by a need to connect, to create, and to leave a legacy for future generations. As we navigate the challenges of the 21st century, the lessons of the past offer both inspiration and guidance. They encourage us to observe more closely, to tell stories that matter, and to embrace a more holistic, adaptive approach to understanding the natural world. By honoring the wisdom of those who came before us, we can build a future that is not only more sustainable, but also more deeply connected to the wonders of the earth. In their footsteps, we find a path forward, one that blends ancient insight with modern innovation and rekindles our sense of awe for the world we share. As we reflect on the incredible ingenuity of early civilizations, one thing becomes abundantly clear. Their legacy is not just a collection of artifacts and records, it's a testament to humanity's timeless connection with the natural world. From the star maps of ancient China to the Quipu of the Inca, these cultures didn't just observe nature, they celebrated it, studied it, and sought to understand their place within it. Their methods, born of curiosity and necessity, remind us that the act of recording the world around us is more than an intellectual exercise. It's a profound act of reverence, a way of honoring the beauty and complexity of life itself. What makes these ancient practices so inspiring is their universality. Whether through the intricate carvings of the Aztec sun stone or the oral traditions of Indigenous Australians, people across time and cultures have shared a common desire to document and interpret the wonders of nature. This shared impulse speaks to something deeply human, a need to connect, to make meaning, and to leave a legacy that endures long after we're gone. In their records, we see not just the past, but a mirror of our own quest to understand the world and our place within it. But the lessons of these early civilizations go beyond admiration, they're a call to action. In a world facing unprecedented environmental challenges, their example reminds us of the importance of observation, storytelling, and respect for the natural world. They show us that sustainability isn't just about technology or policy. It's about cultivating a relationship with the earth, one that's rooted in curiosity, care, and a sense of responsibility. Whether it's through reviving traditional practices like cultural burning or using modern technology to track biodiversity, we have the opportunity to build on their legacy, creating a future where humanity and nature thrive together. As we close this journey through history, let's carry forward the spirit of those who came before us. Their curiosity, creativity, and respect for the natural world offer a blueprint for how we can navigate the challenges of our time. By learning from their wisdom and embracing their example, we can ensure that the wonders of our world are not only recorded but cherished and protected for generations to come. What do you think? How can we apply the lessons of ancient civilizations to our modern world? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. And if you enjoyed this exploration, don't forget to subscribe for more journeys into the mysteries of history. Together, let's keep the spirit of discovery alive and continue uncovering the stories that connect us all.